Hello everyone. This video is a test video. I'm going to be recording a video later related to some submissions to PSA for some sports cards and some non-sports cards. And I want to do a video when those cards return, but in the meantime, I'm doing a test so that the video will turn out well. So this is a different subject. This is really for the fans of tabletop sports simulations, and this in particular is a video about a dice baseball game that I invented whenever I was in my middle teens over 40 years ago, probably closer to 45 years ago. And this game is played with 2 dice only. There's no customization of individual players. The game itself had some simple rules that were written down on a piece of tablet paper. Pretty easy to memorize the rules, and easy to play some baseball games. And if you could use your imagination, the game was pretty realistic. More recently, I pulled that game out, and I really did 2 things. One is I took the game and tested it to see if it had any statistical realism to it. And I found out to a great extent it did, but I also have tweaked it. And the second thing I did is I converted the handwritten rules into some colorful charts. And so I'm going to show you those charts. These charts are available upon request. They're in PDF form. This game, unlike many baseball dice simulation games, uses balls and strikes as the first step in the process. If there's a walk or a strikeout, obviously you move to the next batter. If not, the ball's in play, and then you move on to step B, where you determine if a batter is safe or out. And then if he's safe, you roll again to see what type of hit he got. And if there's a ground ball, then there could be a double play. If there's a fly ball, then there could be a sacrifice fly. This game also allows for stolen bases. The original game also allowed for bunting and squeeze bunting, and hit and run. In the current version of the game, I have not created charts for those things. So with that, I'm going to show you the first chart, and that's where you roll the balls and strikes. And there could be, on any pitch, there could be a ball, a strike, a foul ball, or contact, or if a ball in play, I guess is a better way to say it. So, there's some logic to how this chart was developed, and I looked into the frequency of various types of pitches in developing and tweaking this chart compared to the original game. And you can see if there's some shortcuts at the bottom. If there's a 1 in either dice, it's a ball, and then you move on. Oftentimes, if there's a 2 in the roll and not a 1, it might be a strike. And then the higher rolls are going to get you contact or put the ball in play. Once the ball's in play, you go into the next chart, and you roll again, and you can see whether the runner is safe, or there's different types of outs, fly outs, pop outs, and ground outs, or there could even be a 1 base error. If he's safe, you roll 1 last time, and this is the chart that you use to determine the type of hit. And it's pretty straightforward. The higher rolls get you home runs or doubles. Rarely there's a triple. And there's 2 different types of single. One type of single is shown in the light yellow here, will advance a runner from second and have him score no matter what. Another rule that I put at the bottom as a variation is that when there's 2 outs, any single will score a runner from second, and any double will score a runner from first. If in the previous step the batter was out, then you can roll on a ground ball. You can roll to see if there was a double play or not. And if there was a fly ball and a runner on third with less than 2 outs, you can choose whether or not you want to send the runner and try to score him. In many cases, you might make that decision, but the original game, for whatever reason, had the runner change his mind, or the third base coach change his mind and hold up. So this chart probably could use some work. I think there's probably a fair number of outs that probably should be safe, but again, I didn't really adjust this for the original game. And lastly, this is the stolen base. If before any pitch, I guess technically, the manager of the batting team wanted to try to steal a base, then this would be what you would use. And there's about a 64% success rate on stealing, which I think is fairly accurate to what would happen in the major leagues. There's one other chart that I have which kind of shortcuts a lot of this. If that's too much dice rolling, then there's a new chart that I developed recently, which involves rolling 2 dice, but also rolling a 20-sided dice. So if after determining the ball is in play, instead of going to step B in the other chart, you roll your 2 dice and you roll the 20-sided dice, and you add up the 2 dice and read down the left-hand side of this chart, and you then look at the 20-sided dice, because in many cases for the low rolls and the high rolls on the 2-sider, you need to subdivide the outcomes. And so in this case, the green ones have the runner getting on base. The tan ones or orange ones have the batter grounding out. The light blue and the are flyouts and pop-outs. And this would really cut down the number of rolls that you need to do to play a game. I should say in closing, the purpose of this game is really to teach, I would say, young people how baseball works, gives them something to pass the time. I know when I invented the game as a middle teenager, I lived in a rural area and there really wasn't much to do. You had to make your own fun. And so that's what we did. And we created this game. I created this game, and I and my friends would play it. We would make up rosters and so on. The only thing that I didn't show you that we had at that time, which is kind of obsolete, is I had separate rules for when the pitcher was hitting. But now that there's a universal DH, I don't think that's really relevant. So again, this is a very simple dice baseball game. I would suggest, if you're interested, leave me a comment to this video, and we'll find a way to get you the PDFs so that you can print out the charts and roll away and enjoy a good dice baseball game. So again, if we go back to the flow chart here, on the left, you roll dice until there's a walk, a strikeout, or there's contact been made, ball's in play. Once the ball's in play, you go to step B, and you determine safe or out. And then if safe, you can determine the type of hit. If out, then if it's a ground ball, you can try for a double play. And if it's a fly ball, you can try for a sacrifice fly. Hope this was interesting. I'd be interested if any of you actually try to play the game, and let me know what you think.